Tuesday, NHL bets for December 9th. Welcome to PuckTime on WagerTalk TV. Andrew, Carmine, and the Prez here to kick things off. We've got BL joining us here in a little while. Looking forward to a great show. A bigger slate, of course, here today on a Tuesday. Started off as a slow night for me. Then we cashed an NFL ticket, and then we cashed the Red Wings team total. Overall, feeling motivated going into today, guys. Love this slate a lot more than yesterday. But Carm, what games did you choose for us today, brother? How are you?
I'm doing great. No NFL for me last night. But while you did your intro, Jalen Hurts threw another interception. So that's great. But with that said, only one NHL play for me. It was the LA Kings minus 102 as a 4% play, and that one got there. But we move on. It's $5 customer appreciation day at WagerTalk. And there's also a great promo deal we'll talk about later on. 3 days of NHL for $49. That's an all-access package. We're going to do Prez is coming in. He's going to do Dallas and Winnipeg. Andrew, you and I are going to break down Anaheim and Pittsburgh, Boston and St. Louis. Brian Leonard joins us to do Buffalo and Edmonton. And then if he's not too busy, we'll see if we can get him to hang around and talk about Vegas and the New York Islanders. Same game parlay, a pod. Let's see if we can get the pod back on track. The pod was a loser yesterday, but still up. The bankroll still up at 62 and a half. So that's pretty good as far as that one goes. But with that said, hello to everyone in the chat. Los Kid, I know you showed up right away because you want to know what I'm going to talk about when the Pittsburgh Penguins game comes up. You'll have to wait for that one. Let's bring in the Prez. Prez, what is going on, man? This is your last appearance on the show this week and probably next week because you're skiing the slopes of Whistler.
I am. I'm leaving on Thursday. Carl, where did we last leave? Where did we last leave off? Under in the Toronto game and a slight lean on Toronto. So that's where we last left off. I think I'm 100 wins and 3 losses on your show this year. Thanks for having me on, guys. Please send a check to my address, Carm, you know it. Yeah. And also, I just want to address something one of your viewers just wrote, which I thought was super nice. 67. Silver, the 2 most fun dudes at WagerTalk. Carm, I've known you for a long time. It's not the adjective I would use. Nice, humble, sincere, kind, warm, sweet, beautiful, sexy, fun. Would you use that word to define yourself, Carm?
When I was younger, I was a hell of a lot of fun. As you get older, Prez, you set into your ways.
I don't.
You become the old curmudgeon, as the one guy called me in the comment section of yesterday's video, which I love. He goes, if Carm's curmudgeon about the Buffalo Sabres, that means he's got him as a play. I've only released the Sabres 4 times this season. I've gone 3-1 with them, and they've been plus money a couple of times. It is Andrew, the Sabres, before we get to Prez and Dallas and Winnipeg, because we know he's got to go and promote as well too. But the Sabres are, I'm going to stand by my thoughts, same ones at the beginning of the year. The worst team, one of the worst teams in the NHL. This team has no heart. This team, the thing with the Sabres is you can break down a team, blow it up, and rebuild it. The Sabres never rebuild. They think picking up a guy here and a guy there, it's just putting a Band-Aid on a stab wound. It does not work. And unfortunately, it all falls on the owner of that team, who also owns the Buffalo Bills, Terry Pergola.
Yeah.
So I don't know, Andrew. That team is it's going to take a lot to want to bet that team. But with that said, Prez.
Yes, sir.
The Dallas Stars and the Winnipeg Jets. Obviously, we've seen some struggles from Winnipeg. It has a lot to do with their goaltending. Obviously, it's been Eric Comrie and Milik.
Yeah.
It's going to be January, I think, guys, until we see Hellebuck back in goal for them if his progress comes along. And the Stars keep winning. I still think they're the second best team in the Western Conference behind Colorado. Minus 140 Dallas, plus 115 Winnipeg. Total sits here at 6. Where are you going with this one?
Carm, I'm going with Winnipeg here. And this is about, if you guys follow my hockey on a regular basis, firstly, you're richer for it. Thank you. Secondly, I'm about trying to find rhythm. I got on the show 2 weeks ago. I said to you the Toronto Maple Leafs were, I think at the time 17-5 or 17-4 to the over, which is like ridiculous. And I said to you guys, they're going to go under for the next 2-3 weeks. They've now gone under, I think 9 of their last 11 games. It's the same with this Winnipeg Jets team for me. I'm trying to get ahead of streaks. I'm trying to get ahead of winning streaks. I'm trying to get ahead of losing streaks. And, I thought the Winnipeg Jets were going to go on a nice little run when they met the aforementioned Buffalo Sabres. Last Friday, I gave you the strongest play that I ever bet, 6-year record of over 70%, and it won. And that was on this Winnipeg team. And then I recognized that they were playing Edmonton, and I feel the similar about Edmonton. So I actually laid off this game, but now they're back at home after a bad loss to Edmonton, and they're playing the Dallas Stars. And I look at this Winnipeg team as a team that I'm interested in betting on moving forward. Firstly, this team did have some big injuries throughout the start of the season. Obviously, they're missing their goalie, but this is a very defensive-minded hockey team. And even though they allowed 6 against Edmonton, they kept Buffalo to 1. They held Montreal to 2 in regulation. So this team can play their defensive system correctly. And I look at this Dallas Stars team, and I'm with you, Carm. I think this is I don't know if at the end of the year they'll be better than Vegas. I actually think the Vegas Golden Knights, when push comes to shove, might end up being the best team in the whole league, even including Colorado. But as of now, Dallas is the second best team in hockey, and I just don't like the spot for them. Look, these teams are going to win 3 out of every 4 games, 2 out of every 3 games, whatever the case may be. But what they're not going to do is win 4 in a row on a regular basis. Now, they did just win 4 in a row recently. Then they lost to the Rangers, and now they've won 3 in a row, including beating Pittsburgh, San Jose, and New Jersey. I look at this and I think to myself, this is a good spot for the Jets and a bad spot for Dallas. Now, with all that said, I don't think the value is there to bet Winnipeg. I like them, but it's at plus like 110 against the second best team in the league, and that is a little scary. So although I do lean on the Winnipeg Jets, I personally am not going to get to the window. And I also lean on the under, guys, to give you perspective. These two teams, when they play against each other, 2-8 to the under. So I think we're going to get a 3-2 New York Winnipeg Jets win.
Prez, you look at it, and Andrew, we talk about goaltending all the time. Right now, the goalies aren't confirmed, but given what Dallas's schedule is upcoming with obviously days off in between, it's likely going to be Jake Ottinger in goal. He's 9-1 his last 10 games, and the game he lost was a 3-2 game to the New York Islanders. So it is not as if he's allowed. And you look at the goals allowed: 2-1,
unbelievable,
3-3, 2-3-1, and 2, and then 4 in 5-4 win over Nashville in Nashville. So it is unbelievable. This guy is playing the way we expect him to play. And if Winnipeg struggles to score goals, the way to get there for Dallas is score 3 and leave it up to Jake, Andrew, to get the rest of them for you.
Yeah, I think overall, guys, I think that we're number one, even though Connor Hellebuck is an MVP winner. I think we're really starting to see how important he was. Like, if that guy didn't have enough respect on his name before, he should now. But do you like the way I look at it is this, though, guys, is this Winnipeg team going to be able to win a low scoring game without Hellebuck? That's kind of my way of looking at it. Like I did a video yesterday. It was pretty interesting.
Well, let's see, Andrew. Sorry. Go on about your video. My apologies.
No, I was just going to say I got to work with former NHL goalie Devin Dubnyk, and he said that although they've been without Hellebuck, the defense hasn't really been as acceptable around the new goalies either.
What does acceptable mean? Like they haven't been good?
Average, yeah.
Yeah. So you look at the statistics, and Buffalo put 35 shots on them. So from that perspective, the defense wasn't spectacular, but I watched that game, and a lot of those shots were from the outside. There were not a lot of scoring chances in that game. They also held Buffalo to 1 goal. So that's a sample size. Montreal put 31 shots on them, scored only 2 goals in regulation. So I think
Comrie played great. That was Comrie's best game of the year. He was
whatever the case may be. Great, not great, best game, not best game. They've had 2 games right there where they could have won. They won one of them. They could have won the second. Both were unders. So I wouldn't make that type of assessment. I think you see players step up when backup goaltenders go into the net. And these are still professional goalies. Look at what Dennis Hildebeest did.
Yeah. Prez, I think I'm being misunderstood here. I'm more so. I meant to say anyway that's how they need to play is what I meant to say.
Right.
Not that they're not going to be able to win. Like I think that they have to protect their goalie. I agree with the point that when a backup,
they haven't done a good job of it, Andrew. They're 2-6.
Yeah.
The last 8 starts for Comrie in goal, and one of the wins was against the Sabres, who couldn't fight their way out of a paper bag.
No.
And then the other one, I think, was against I think it might have been the Montreal Canadiens, but they're 2-6. And the thing is, it might not even be Comrie in goal tonight because he's played, I think, 5 straight games or 6 straight games. So it could very well be Milik in goal.
No, they sent him down. They sent Milik down. They brought another guy up.
Yeah.
Oh, they brought another guy up. Oh, that breeds confidence when you send down the emergency goalie and you bring back another emergency goalie. That's got to make you feel really good.
Kyle made $7,000 on your last 5% play. Gotta love it. He's asking when your next one is.
Well, I mean, listen, Kyle, firstly, yes, I love to hear that. And secondly, I don't know when my next 5% play is. I can tell you right now that the play I have going today would have been a 5% play, but I made it a 4% play instead. There was just one little thing that kept me off of a 5. But I mean, Kyle, I'll tell you flat out, my play today is a monster. It's a regulation 4% bet. I'm going for 8 in a row in these plays. I'm over 77% in the last 2 seasons, 73% in the last 3 seasons. This is a monster of a bet tonight, and it's only $5. So you can buy my play for $5, and you can buy Carmine's play, and you can buy Andrew's play, and all of them together are only $15. But guys, we got a kick-ass promo for NHL bettors. Andrew, why don't you give it out?
Yeah, it's right here. Right here. Hat trick, all access pass, 3 days of NHL plays, hockey plays overall, $49. This includes 5% best bet. So, guys, of course, it is $5 Tuesday, but that's going to get you one best bet. Let's say Prez has another one for today. You want to get that one as well, or for the next handful of days, right? Tuesday, busy slate. Thursday, busy slate. Every single play released in the hockey market, 3 days for $49. You guys do the math. One singular play typically is $25. You can get this for 3 days for $49. That works out to $16.33 per day for every premium hockey release that we make. That works for Prez, Carmine, or myself. It's a great deal. And guys, I started betting college hockey. It's a market I was following for a long time, and this will come in that package, the college hockey. Of course, they only play on the weekends, but it's a pretty good deal. So $49 if you want Prez, if you want Carm or myself, $49.
Yeah, and Andrew, as Prez mentioned, with Milik getting sent down, I had a quick look at the database, and the goalie they called up is Lawrence, born and raised in Bolton, Ontario, north of us, playing for the Manitoba Moose. He's 6-7 on the season with a 249 save percentage, goals against average, and a 915 save percentage. Dom Diventisis. Oh my God, I butchered that name, and he's Italian, but he's got 2 I's in his last name. Like, what are you doing? Anyways.
Yeah, TJ, that's a really interesting question. If you buy it today, I think it counts for today. So if you're going to buy it from me, I would buy it tomorrow personally, because I only have the one NHL play up and you guys can get it for $5. So, but that is a good question. I got to run, boys. A real pleasure doing the show. Like always, I've got the best betting show ever coming up a little later today. That should be up at 12:31. We're getting unbelievable comments on that show. People are really, really enjoying it. I'm also doing WagerTalk today, and the NFL presidential address. So it's a big, and I have a Shiva tonight. So yeah, big day for me. Lots
Press, congrats on that run with the unders. Whether it's the goalies, whether it's the players not scoring or the defense, you have given out like 8 straight Leafs unders. So this team is doing really well, really well. So guys, hope you've been cashing in, and $5 play for Prez tonight up at wagertalk.com. See you, Prez.
Thanks, guys. Lots of love, everyone.
Andrew, we in the future, we don't even need Prez to come in on to do his breakdown on the games. We'll just say, we'll use AI, and with the person just saying, I like the under. Let's just keep taking the under.
Look at this comment from Jeffrey. Look at this, Carm. This is the best comment of the week. I know it's only Tuesday, but this takes the cake. Maybe you're the best comment of December so far. I don't know where Prez is going and what show he's going to record, but this is the best betting show on Wager Talk, PuckTime. So I love that comment. Appreciate it.
Matty Ice wants to know, Andrew, before we get to Anaheim and Pittsburgh, and we got to move along, why Sebastian Cossa hasn't been called up yet by the Wings. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest with you. The Talbot Gibson thing seemed to have been working earlier. It doesn't seem to be working now. So that's interesting. Well, it's something that we have to monitor, but we'll see as it goes. Andrew, I've read this name over in my head, and I'm Italian, man, about 10 times, and I still can't get this. Dom Vincetis. Dom Vincetis.
I know I'm not going to get it.
Dom, if I've butchered your name, please call in to our office in Detroit and let them know. Pretty sure you're not really worried about what is going on with PuckTime and whether I pronounced your name wrong. Wait till I do the Russians. Those are the best, man. Early on, those were the best. But
I like this comment
Andrew,
from Hal. I love a small dose of Prez. Yeah, it's like a micro dose. Like you get a little quick, you get a little bit of them. You don't have to absorb too much, but a little quick, like 15 minutes of Prez, and then he's out of here. We're perfect. Quickly, Carm, I just want to add, when it comes to goalies, a lot of the times teams don't like to rush their goalies up into the NHL. Look what the Buffalo Sabres did to Devon Levi. Look at what they did to him. Yeah. You don't want to rush certain goalies into the NHL. It's just a fact. Like right now, the Canadians have a guy, Jacob Fowler, in the AHL. No matter how good this guy plays in the AHL, they're not bringing him up to the NHL for at least another year. I think it's a very, very important, Carm. I'm sure you agree with me, for the hockey goalies to have more time in the AHL. Maybe the forwards can get called up a little bit earlier, but I think the goalies need to take some time. All right, Carm, Anaheim and Pittsburgh. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, my final thought is, and then we're done with the Prez, is can you imagine being the poor bastard on that plane that has to fly across Canada seated next to the Prez where he tells you how great he is? God almighty. Andrew, Anaheim and Pittsburgh. So minus 125 on Pittsburgh, plus 103 on Anaheim. 6.5 is the total. It is, what are we going to see from the Ducks on this road trip? Because, like, listen, Joel Quenneville, and I took Anaheim in their next start. He put them through a morning skate like no other after they lost 7-0 to Utah. They bounced back and they beat a very good Washington team. Next time out, beating them 4-3 in OT. They take it on the road now. And can they bring that form from that one game? But not just that. What they were doing earlier in the season, Andrew, which is using their speed to keep teams off balance. Playing from the, in soccer, we call it playing from the back out, but generating that speed through the neutral zone, getting into the offensive zone, spending a lot of ozone time there, cycling the puck and getting some shots on goal. If they can do that against Pittsburgh, it's a recipe for a win for Anaheim here at plus 103. I wish this total was 6. If this total was 6, I would be on the over at 6.5. I'm not entirely sure I want to touch this over unless we wait until the game starts and you can get a better number in game. We talk about in-game betting, guys, and having multiple outs at different books where you can get the best number. And sometimes you have to wait a couple of minutes in a game. If you like the over and you can get at 6 instead of 6.5 in game, it doesn't matter to me whether they score in the first 5 minutes or not. Some people will be like, well, I have 6.5. I want to go early. No, if I think it's going to get there, it's going to get there. Whether it's 5 minutes into the game with no goals or not, with goals or not. So I'd probably bet this one in game, Andrew, and take the over, but a little sprinkle, a tiny little sprinkle on the Anaheim Ducks tonight. What would you fear more, a duck or a penguin if they were attacking you, Andrew?
Probably a penguin, because I'd just be like, what the hell is a penguin doing attacking me? What did I do to this penguin? I kind of agree with the Ducks here. I know for the most part, I do like the Ducks at home a lot more. I got to give credit to this Penguins team. Like overall, looking at some of my numbers, like this Penguins team had a really good start analytically, but they have had a little bit of a drop off. There has been a little bit of a drop with some of their numbers here. And even some of the games they've had lately that they've had success, they've also been giving up a ton of goals as well. And here's my fear about this one here. If you're backing the Penguins, who would you rather in a first to 4 goals wins? Who would you rather in a first to 5 goals wins? The total is at 6.5. And Pittsburgh opened up slight favorites. They bumped a little bit higher and they bumped a little bit back. This number hasn't really moved much from the opener, Carm. That to me indicates the underdog a little bit. But also the 6.5, I think, is beneficial for the Anaheim Ducks. The only thing that might keep me off this game, and I know this hopefully shouldn't bother a professional hockey team, Carm, some teams, just very similar to some teams, are very good after they gave up 7 goals. I think some teams aren't the best after they just scored 7 goals. It's like they just didn't save enough goals for the rest of the games. Like you just absolutely beat the crap out of a team. Are you able to do it again the next time, right? And you got a real hungry Pittsburgh team here. So, but you know what? Pittsburgh's been having a tough go. They played some tough teams, but they've also been having a tough go lately.
There's 2 words that is keeping me off of wanting to release a play on the Ducks. Do you know what those 2 words are?
Los Kid.
No. Ville Husso.
I thought it was Los Kid.
Husso. No, Ville Husso. No, it's not Los Kid. He's a good dude. Maybe the Penguins smack around the Ducks tonight. But Ville Husso. How is this guy still in the NHL? Johnny Detroit. I remember when he was playing for Detroit, he was going to pick him up at the arena and drive him to the airport. That's how much he wanted him out of Detroit. This guy is, I think his NHL career is done. He's just not a tier 1 goalie, and I don't think he's even a legitimate backup goalie, to be honest with you. I think this guy's an emergency goalie at best. So with that said, Andrew, let's bring in, we got to discuss Boston and St. Louis. Let's just do that real quick, and then we'll bring in Brian Leonard, because I know Brian's hanging around. He's probably dipping into the Baileys right now. Boston and St. Louis. I'm going to make this quick, Andrew. St. Louis minus 150, Boston plus 125. Both Charlie McAvoy and Pasternak made the trip, but they were in non-contact jerseys. The coach has already said that he is not going to start them until they're fully healthy, and these guys were in non-contact jerseys. So I would doubt either one of them is in the lineup tonight, even though it shows in some places questionable. I think it's safe to say that these guys, excuse me, are both out for tonight's game. I like the fact that the Blues have put a couple of wins together. They come home, and they recently played this Boston team, so a kind of a rapid revenge spot minus 150 is probably the high end of what I want to lay on this game. Especially because the Bruins haven't started to, as I call it, regress as of yet. Andrew, any thoughts on this one? And then we'll bring in Brian.
Carm, whenever there's a rapid revenge spot, especially with emotion like this, with the Jim Montgomery and that kind of stuff, and I don't bet it, it absolutely infuriates me. It infuriates me. There was one recently with Buffalo and Winnipeg, the Winnipeg revenge spot against Buffalo. That infuriated me, not being a part of it. And I'm not saying it's always a bet on an easy situation, but this kind of sets up properly here. And when I look at the analytics, I love looking at last 10 games when it comes to the analytics now, 5-on-5 numbers. And Brian taught me that. It's good to look towards just the 5-on-5 because there is variance when it comes to power play calls or penalties, the 5-on-5 numbers. I have Boston as the third-ranked defensive team expected goals against in the last 10 games, 5-on-5. Edmonton and Chicago are the only two worst teams, 5-on-5 expected goals against than this team. So I think that St. Louis is the play. I think potentially St. Louis team total over. And one thing about this here, Carmen, I'll throw this to you and then we'll get Brian's thoughts on it. I have noticed one thing this season where it's not the first game back at home after a road trip. In fact, it's the second game back at home after a road trip. And, I'll have to get some data to back this up for me, of course, but we've seen a lot of teams, and I'll think back to the Calgary versus Minnesota game. Calgary had an East Coast swing. They get back home, and it was their first game back, and yet they were like short dogs against Minnesota. They won that one somehow, and then they got pummeled in their next two games. Sometimes we're starting to see these teams actually perform well in their first game back at home, but the second game is a little bit different. So with all that being said, with the rapid revenge, with the injuries for the Bruins, and, Carm, I watched the interview with Morgan Geekie yesterday. It looks like a real classy guy. He still doesn't even know how good he is. He's being so humble. He's a scoring machine. But I think what's been disguised by his scoring has been the lack of scoring from other people. Like, imagine if Morgan Geekie was having an average year. I bet you that guy is regretting signing an 8-year contract, Carm. Because if he signed a 2-year contract, he would have been getting paid. But yeah, the guy all of a sudden signs a mediocre contract. He's going to score 50 goals this year and make nearly not enough compared to what he's doing on the ice. But I worry about the lack of depth on this Bruins team. Would you agree that maybe some of the success these young guys are having is taken away from the fact that not many guys are actually scoring for the Boston Bruins?
No, and that's the thing. Like we can talk about the fact that Pasternak has been out, but the team is 4-2 in the 6 games that Pasternak's been in the press box and injured. So they're still winning games without them, but doing it over a 7 or 10 day period as opposed to doing it over a month and a half, 2 months, and that's why I don't think they rush either one of these guys back. They're on the trip so they can take part in the morning skates with these teams. I just don't see them being in the lineup. And I will have a pod play on this game at the end of the show, but we got to bring him in, man, because this guy is probably itching to get on the show right now, especially because the Prez is gone. Let's bring in the shot of Bailey's. We should get his segment
sponsored
by Bailey's. We should get your segment sponsored by Bailey's.
I don't drink it, so I would rather have it sponsored by Leinenkugel beer or something. But
he's like, I don't want that. I want a nice beer.
That's right. I'm a beer guy. I will say, regardless of Press is there or not, his thoughts on this defense for Toronto has really made a difference in my thinking. And I'm not always on those unders, but he's done a tremendous job, and it's in my head now. I think, well, that's something I look for. So thanks for Prez for that. I try to learn from each one of you guys, and you've all been handicapping hockey a lot longer than I have, all being Canadian, and that's part of your lifestyle. But yeah, congratulations to Prez. He's done a terrific job.
And the goaltending, we got to say, like, the goaltending has been really good, and it's the third string goalie last night for them. So, but what makes me laugh, Brian, and I got to always get my shots in here. These wins and the good goalies are taking away from the fact that some of the forwards have been awful. Like, if they haven't been winning these games, then all these forwards are getting ripped on. Like Austin Matthews had 7 shots yesterday. He didn't score until he got an empty net goal. Imagine if they lost that game 3-2. All the headlines, and you talk about the lifestyle in Canada, especially, of course, where Carmine lives, all the headlines everywhere would be about how he can't score. And nobody cares because they won the game. So the defense, and I'll put it out here, I think that one of those goalies potentially could be traded. Whether it's Woll, Hildeby, or Stolarz, one of those guys could be traded here, Carm, because they don't have many assets. They don't have prospects. They don't have many young players. They might have to use one of their 3 goalies as an asset for a trade.
Yeah. Yeah, listen, they've bought into, and we've got to get to the Sabres game in a second. I'm in no rush to get to the Sabres game, but they're buying into Craig Berube's style, which is he wanted them to play better defense. They're playing better defense. You sort of give up some scoring. You sacrifice scoring when you're playing a better defensive game. It's kind of like what was happening at the beginning of the season with the New York Rangers. They were creating some chances, but they were playing more defensive-minded game. We'll see come playoff time, because the Leafs in the playoffs have always been about trying to outscore their opponents, and now it is the complete opposite. And will the lack of scoring come back to haunt them in the playoffs when they have to play a Florida team or a Carolina team or a Tampa Bay team? We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But with that said, Bri, the Edmonton Oilers, minus 222. The Buffalo Sabres, plus 179. 6.5 is the total here. Sabres off of yet another loss. Their fan base is pissed off. Can't understand why. You could just see it on all the message boards. They have had enough of the Buffalo Sabres. Have you had enough of the Buffalo Sabres?
Well, everybody knows I like to specialize in underdogs, and I just wanted to explain something when it comes to favorites. You mentioned the price on this game is about a 220 or so for Edmonton. You got a Buffalo team that, well, I'll get to that part. But let me just say, the Kansas City Chiefs this week in the NFL are hosting the LA Chargers. They're about a 4.5 point favorite, and the line is about 225, about the same as it is for Edmonton. Do you feel more confident playing an Edmonton team here, laying the 220, 225, as opposed to playing Kansas City as a 4.5 point favorite over the Chargers? And the reason why I did that was so I could show people that just because, a lot of times we will say, oh, $2 is too high, I can't play that or whatever. If you're going to give me Edmonton in this game and that same price as you're going to give me the Kansas City Chiefs against San Diego, it really puts it in perspective. Let's take a look at what Buffalo has done. On the season, in the Eastern Conference, Buffalo is in last place. They've got 26 points on the season. They're minus 15 goals in the goal differential, despite playing 3 more games at home than they do on the road. 4-6 the last 10. They have not been good on the road all season long. They have 2 wins away from home in 13 games. The next worst team, the worst team in the Western Conference, the Nashville Predators, they have 4 wins on the road. They've had twice as many wins on the road as Buffalo has. Taking a look at Edmonton, this is a team that we've talked about this in the past. They've got a really strong home ice, but they have not played that great this season. But you have a lot of peaks and valleys throughout the season. I said like a week ago, I think the Edmonton Oilers were about to catch fire. The offense certainly has lately. On the season, they've only played 12 games at home and 17 on the road. They've been outscored by 6. So they're still a lot better than Buffalo in that regard. But when you take a look at the schedules, Buffalo is playing a back-to-back game. Usually I make a differential of about 35 cents when a team is playing a back-to-back as opposed to the other team being rested. Not only are they playing a back-to-back, they're playing their 3rd game in 4 days. And in fact, if you take a look at Buffalo's schedule, this is the last game on this road trip. This will be the 9th straight game Buffalo has played in a different city. They've already proven they can't win on the road. They can't wait to get home. They can't wait to get home. It's been an embarrassing road trip for them. And they found out today that Jason Zucker He got hurt in the last game. That's one less forward. They're pulling guys up from the minor leagues right now. Buffalo's just trying to get the hell out of there, get back to Buffalo, and try to straighten this thing out. Well, you got an Edmonton team who is being priced, as I said, at $220. That's a bargain. To get a team that's gone to the finals the last 2 years against a Buffalo team, we know what Buffalo is going to come in to the season. We know what they were going to be, and they're exactly just that. This is a bargain for the favorite. I like Edmonton here. If you want to lay the 1.5, you want to lay 2.5, whatever you want to do, somewhere to get towards Edmonton in this game, because if you take a look at this situation, this 220 is a complete bargain. I'll take Edmonton in this game.
You know, Brian, when I look at this one, I think a lot about the fact that sometimes when I win on a team, I feel like I'm done with that team for a while and I have to find another team to make money on. It's something I've always struggled with. I'm not sure why. It's kind of like reinventing the wheel, you know, like, okay, this team made me money. I can't go back on them. But hockey and money line sports are sports of streaks a lot of the time, right? And I was on a podcast yesterday. We were talking about this Oilers team. So I wanted to ask you, like, I know you're mostly talking here about fading Buffalo, not as much about backing the Edmonton Oilers, but are you the kind of guy, or will you, with a team like the Oilers, look to not just bet on them tonight, but bet on them moving forward because they're such a streaky team? Like, they are either cold or they're hot. There's no such thing as lukewarm with this Edmonton Oilers team. I understand a lot of it that you were just breaking down was more so just ripping on Carmine Sabres. But when you look at this Oilers team, they've really turned it on. They're now entering the playoffs. Of course, if the playoffs started tomorrow, do you look to bet on this team more moving forward because they finally turned it on?
Well, first of all, I'm a Cleveland Browns fan, so I've got no reason to rag on anybody's team. Buffalo and Cleveland Browns are very similar, different sports. I'm not a guy who plays streaks, and I'll tell you why. Because usually when you're playing a streak, you are getting the worst of the number. And we talk about this on the baseball show. I'm on the baseball show every season. One of the three hosts, and we talk about that. I know other guys play streaks. Obviously, we were just talking about Prez playing the streak with the Toronto Wanderers. Makes sense. But unless I'm getting the line I want, I am not going to play it. If I don't want to overpay for anything. Everything I have comes down to numbers, and I'm looking for value. And if I don't have the value there, it's like in baseball season, the Milwaukee Brewers. They were one of those teams. Luckily, I was on them a lot more than I was against them. They had a terrific season, not so good in the playoffs, but they were a team that was very streaky like that. And it got to the point where when the more they would win, the higher prices it would get. So I would find myself on playing the Brewers 2 or 3 in a row at the beginning of the streak, and then I would fall off of them. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You know, the line out there is, Phil Steele used to say, you can only lose once if you play a team on a winning streak. Well, you're saying that the chances of them continuing that winning streak is higher than not, when in reality it's a 50-50 proposition, just like it was before the winning streak started. So I don't truly buy into it, but it takes some guts to go against a team on a winning streak or ride a team on a losing streak. But that's where you get the value, and that's what I like to do.
Yeah. A quick aside here for someone in chat. I think there's a guy by the name of Jose who says that I'm tough on Prez. Prez and I have been friends for the longest time. We literally live 15 minutes away from each other. He calls me to talk about NHL. I will bug him about some of the games. We bug each other. It is what we do. We're two good friends who. So if you haven't been watching PuckTime, you probably don't get it. You think I'm just being hard on a guest. He's one of the owners of WagerTalk, one of the original founders of WagerTalk, but I love giving him a hard time. We play poker together. I won't go skiing, though. I'm just too old. My bones are brittle. But with that said, Jose, it is all good. I will continue to poke fun at Prez whenever he's on the show, as he will do to me as well, too. So with that said, that's how it is. Bright, Vegas and the Islanders here. So, Andrew, I'm going to go to you first on this one. Minus 141 on Vegas, plus 117 on the Islanders. 5.5 is the total here. Isles is showing some defense. They're starting to look like the Islanders or the Thailanders, as some of the guys call them in the chat from earlier years. Are they a live dog?
You know, that's the thing about this Islanders team is I used to say, if you want to watch a hockey game and you want to fall asleep, toss on a Minnesota Wild game or toss on a New York Islanders game, and you can have yourself a really good nap before the good games get going. And when I look at this Islanders team, you know, they have started to play a little bit lower scoring, but at the end of the day, they still on a large scale are an over team. When it comes down to it, looking at this Vegas Golden Knights team on the road against the Devils, on the road against the Rangers, now on the road against the Islanders, the real question here is, guys, is this much of a road trip angle? You know, like, you're not sleeping in your own bed for all these nights, but they're not climbing around the country. They're not hopping on PJs. Like, they're in the tri-state area. That's all they are. They're bouncing around like, what, 20, 30 miles, you know, to go to different arenas. It's not like it's much of a change. So when it comes to this, I'm not too worried about the Vegas Golden Knights as far as their travel is concerned. But I am liking what they're bringing offensively right now. And you know, we just saw the Islanders have a tough one on Sunday where they only gave up, they only scored one goal. The Panthers got momentum after. I don't even think the Panthers deserved to win that game on Saturday against CBJ, but all of a sudden they win 2 straight. I like the over in this game here, guys. I think that against good teams, we're going to see the Islanders be an over team. We're gonna see them be an over team. I know against Tampa, they kind of had a good low-scoring game, but that was because they couldn't score themselves. Vegas kind of, I don't want to say fat and sassy, but feeling pretty good. First two games went pretty well for them. I think this game's a little more of a track meet, a little more back and forth. Also, for whatever reasons, I look at the last history between these teams. I know they don't play often. A lot of penalties, a lot of physicality, and these are actually some bigger teams. I could see some power play goals. And, you know, Brian, I was giving you credit. I don't know if you heard backstage about the 5-on-5 stuff, because there is variance when it comes to it. But I'm not going to say I don't look towards the specialty teams as well, because you know what? Some teams, they're just money on the power play. And if they get chances, they're going to make you pay. Well, Vegas is one of those teams. So as much as we look at 5-on-5 numbers, I do think that a team like Vegas, their power play helps my case. So I like the over here, guys. I think we're going to see some goals here. The price is not going to get me there enough on the Islanders. And also the travel, it doesn't matter as much to me because there's not really much travel. They've just been on the road a little bit. But what do you think, Brian? Do they get the 3-0 sweep here with the New York/New Jersey teams?
Well, to be honest with you, I faded Vegas the first 2 games of this trip. Small plays, but still, I like the home underdogs. I still think the Rangers were the better team in the last game. That was a tough way to lose. But New Jersey's a team right now not producing any offense. The Rangers are a team that does it with defense. The only thing I would say about your total in this one is Vegas is still having problems scoring when they're playing on 5-on-5. Their power play right now is great. When they're on the power play, so if there is penalties here, Vegas is going to put some points on the board with the power play. But once again, we are seeing teams trying to protect their goalies a little bit, which is obviously with the Toronto situation yesterday. Hey, they threw a shutout. Good for them. Teams are able to play good defense. And you were talking about boring. I don't know if the Islanders have been boring, but I've always liked the Islanders because if they get a lead, I say take the air out of the ball. I know they don't play with the ball, but they basically just keep the other team from scoring. And I can see that coming both ways in this game. But you're right about the power plays. If we get a lot of penalties, Vegas is going to cash in those penalties. They've cashed them with everybody lately. They got 2 full lines right now with really excellent puck handlers. And that's where they do their damage. They got the ace going tonight, Schmidt, who has been terrific. Schmidt's going to be, I'm assuming, is going to be in goal for him tonight. But the line is right where I thought it was going to be, so I'm not going to have a play on the game. But it's a great point. We mentioned that the other day about playing the 3 games in a small physical area, and so we don't have a team doing a lot of traveling. It's not like the Buffalo Sabres, like I just talked about, ninth game in nine different cities with travel involved in all of them. I could see Vegas winning here, but I don't want to lay that number. I agree in that point with you. It's a little bit higher than what I'd like to lay.
Andrew, we would go mano a mano on this one because I'd look to the under. Sorokin is confirmed for the Islanders. He's 8-2 to the under his last 10 starts. Now, one of those ones that went over the total was a win in Vegas where they beat them 4-3. So we normally see sort of a reversal the second time out. We see a lower scoring games. And the Islanders, after being an extremely hot over team early in the season, are 8-2 to the under their last 10 games, both home and away combined. So we'll see how that one goes. Brian, what do you have to promote on $5 Customer Appreciation Day over at WagerTalk?
Yeah, I passed on yesterday's card. Just wasn't anything out there for me that I thought had value, but I'm back today. I've got a 4% going in the NHL, currently 9-4 run on my NHL 4%. In fact, 16-7 run overall on 4%. Going back the last 4 months now, it's been a complete 4 months. We're up 95 units overall in all sports. I've had winning records in all sports right now. I've got 2 college basketball plays I gave to clients. If I can find another one, I'm going to put that up as a 3-pack and give that out for only $5 today. And my 4% in the NHL is only $5. So still working on the card. Don't think I'll have anything in the NBA. There's only 2 games. And so I'll probably be passing on that. And there's no football today, a rare non-football day. So that's what we've got. 1 hockey and 2 basketball right now. But I'm going to try to get a third one up here and give you 3 plays for only $5. And Prez talked about the specials we had going right now. Some nice specials they made for all of us for hockey. And basketball, and it's the giving time of year, and the girls in the office have done a tremendous job. So before you buy any plays, check out what all the specials are. And even though it's $5 Tuesday, can't much beat that very often. But get extended services starting tomorrow and save yourself some big bucks.
Brian, wish you the best of luck, my friend. And the next time I make it out to Vegas, which will probably be like maybe early January, February sometime. You got to find out a way to get me into Golden Steer because that place is booked like 3 months in advance. Like, you got to have some connections. That's
my favorite. I'm not a big guy that spends a lot of money on food, but that's my favorite steakhouse in town. And I used to have a connection there. One of my friends from Cleveland moved out to Vegas before I moved out here, but that was 25 years ago. He's no longer there. So.
If he is, he's eating mashed potatoes right now. Anyways, listen, best of luck to you. Yeah, definitely guys, head over to WagerTalk, wt.buzz/BL and take advantage of Brian's $5 customer appreciation plays. Best of luck, Brian.
Thank you.
See you, Brian.
Thanks. Take care.
Andrew, same game parlay time and pod time. You want me to go first or you want to go first?
You go first, and I'll tell you what, I like your play. I'm on the same page as you, and hopefully we can cash it, man.
So, guys, obviously we lost with Tampa Bay minus 115 yesterday, but we're still at 62.47 from the original 5K. Of course, I've taken some of that cash out, and I'm going to post some videos of the food bank donation that PuckTime did. So I will get that to you guys, but it's a great time for giving at this time of the year. Help those less fortunate than yourselves. But my same game parlay, not my same game parlay. Let's start from the beginning, Andrew. My pod play today is the St. Louis Blues in regulation, even money. Yes, while the line is minus 150, I'm going to take them in regulation to beat the Boston Bruins. Bruins still a little shorthanded, but I like the fact that St. Louis is playing some very good D. They finished that road trip with a couple wins and some very solid numbers. They return home. This is a rapid revenge spot against the Bruins team that beat them 5-2. But if you look at the XG numbers, the high danger chances, and the shots on goal in that game, everything favored the St. Louis Blues. The only thing that didn't favor them was the final score line. They reversed that tonight. The St. Louis Blues get it done in 60 minutes, and that is your pod play.
I just think that price is really solid, Carm. I think it's worth a look at. And I wanted to ask you, do you think that when you look at this Blues team overall, that it's a bad thing almost for them if they keep winning, because it almost takes them away from not a rebuild, but trading off? Like, sometimes I saw some Calgary Flames fans, they were complaining about the fact that the team is playing well right now. So they're going through, of course, their typical, December run in which they take themselves away from a number 1 overall pick or a top draft pick or whatever it might be. Does it hurt this Blues team if they go on a roll overall?
The odd thing, Andrew, is when you look at the standings right now in the Western Conference, you start to wonder, who do you make a case for that is going to be in the playoffs, or more so those wild card spots. We know Colorado, Dallas Stars, the Minnesota Wild, the Vegas Golden Knights, the LA Kings, Edmonton Oilers are going to be there. Anaheim's really overperforming right now. They are a wild card type team, but they're not the third best team in the Western Conference, even though they have 37 points right now and sit in that third spot. On the outside looking in, and you have San Jose in that 8th spot. Are the St. Louis Blues better than the San Jose Sharks? Yes, they are. So now you start to look at who can take that final spot away from them. The Chicago Blackhawks, Utah Mammoth, I'm not entirely sure. Possibly Utah, not Chicago. I don't think they have the depth right now. The Seattle Kraken, Calgary Flames, Vancouver, Nashville, I don't see any of those ones. The one that obviously sticks out is the Winnipeg Jets, but they obviously have goaltending issues right now with Hellebuck being out until January. And the problem here is that he's out until, we saw this with Thatcher Demko, where they kept expecting him to come back and in Vancouver, and his body did not recover from whatever it was that ailed him, and that team struggled. So what happens with Winnipeg? Do they go out and make a trade for a goaltender? And I don't know, because I don't have those, what their cap space is. I don't have what their assets are as far as making a trade. So I tend to believe the St. Louis Blues, much like last year, where they eked into the playoffs and then they looked pretty good. Once they got there, they just could not win the games on the road. They won them at home. If this team is playing some solid defense and their goaltenders are on Hofer and obviously Binnington, they are a threat to make. I don't think they're a bottom 3 team in the Western Conference or a bottom 3 team overall. So
that's my point, though. They're not great. They're not bad. They're somewhere in the middle, right?
You're stuck in that the whatever it's called, the chasm or whatever. It's like in purgatory. You just don't know where they're going to end up, and that's the problem. It is explain that to the Buffalo Sabres for the last 14 years. They get stuck in that. They play just well enough to screw up any draft picks, lottery chances, and they play just bad enough to not come close to making the playoffs. So anyways, give me a same game parlay, Andrew.
Yeah. 11:54 Eastern time, as we're going to transition over to Andy Lang in a few moments. Really quick, guys, I did mention that I was going to stop for a while with these shots on goal props, but my exception is when it's a certain matchup, or if a guy has performed very well in the past against a certain team. Travis Konechny has performed very, very, very well in his past against the San Jose Sharks. And I know these are out-of-conference teams, but I like head-to-head matchups. Owen Tippett, 3+ shots on goal. Konechny, 3+ shots on goal. And Trevor Zegras to get 1 point. Looking at this San Jose Sharks team, just really quick here, I know we're in a rush. The San Jose Sharks are 30th in the league in shots on goal allowed overall, and they're 28th in the league in shots on goal allowed overall against right wingers. I think that Trevor Zegras is going to be up for this game, because even though he's a little bit older now, he wants to show that he's still one of those talented young players, and Will Smith and Celebrini, those guys come into town. At another point here, Carm, we could top on the Philadelphia Flyers money line to make this even better. Right now, San Jose is starting to show their true colors. I think they're going to be a really different team at home versus on the road. They have a losing record on the road and a -10 goal differential on the road, which really starts to add up. So I do think this Philadelphia team is pretty solid here. 3 picks for +435. Shop around for the best price you can. We got to wrap the show up here, guys, but we will just mention this great deal that we have going Let's see if we can get that going here. Hat trick, all access pass, $49, 3 days in the NHL. And of course, $5 Tuesday. Best bets available. Every top play besides 5% plays are just $5. I've got one $5 total. And also, I got a $5 side. Carm, we can now have as many plays as we want up for $5. And I got a 5% play waiting for the number to come out. Potentially a 5% prop bet for Thursday night football. You guys can grab that on a huge run with NFL player props. You guys look for that later on today at my page, wt.buzz/am. You guys can get the best price possible. Always, usually can take advantage of these deals. So making sure you take advantage of that and get that at the best time possible to get the best price, because you know how those numbers move with the player props. All right, Carm, you got a big day ahead of you as well, brother.
Yeah, grab this $49 package. I think it's a great deal. I have a 5% play up in the NHL tonight. That's $35. So spend the $49 and you get all the plays. I have a couple other plays in the NHL going as well too. The $5 customer appreciation play. And it gets you the next 3 days of NHL. There's some huge cards up over the next 3 days. That is a great deal. So that is it, guys. For myself, Andrew, and our guests, the Prez and Brian Leonard, this is Puck Time. We've gone a little late this time. We'll see you tomorrow when Don Buster jumps into the guest chair. Best of luck to you guys all tonight.